Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast, a special Easter edition. Hope you've all been scrumming down on your Easter eggs and hot cross buns. So, don't eat too many. I've already started.
Have as many as you want.
It's welcome to me good mate, Mahona. How are you, bud?
Got it, bro. Yeah, real good, real good. Easter time, yes. time for reflection, time for rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of sports going on though, mate. Lots of sports going on. Let's crack into it.
We'll obviously get to the big rugby clash from last night a bit later on in the program.
Great game of rugby last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, cracking game of code.
And the right result too.
Yes. Now we're recording this on the 16th of April in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But of course, overseas in the UK and America, it's still the 15th of April, which is a very special day for both of us, really.
Yep.
It's the 33rd anniversary of that horrible Hillsborough tragedy where 97 people lost their lives. It's just such a shame that you go to a game of football as a supporter and you don't make it home. And that's what happened to those. Well, it was 95 at the time, but two have obviously since passed to bring it up to 97.
Yep. And untold others were affected by it as well, man. Their families, their friends, the supporters of the club itself, the management, the team, everyone associated with Liverpool Football Club and Nottingham Forest Football Club and Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. And it's just incredible, man. 33 years on and things still haven't been resolved. It's just an absolute disgrace. There should have been people held accountable for what happened, and then the lies that were told afterwards. It's just an absolute disgrace. And I just love the way that Liverpool Football Club keeps this day in its mind every year, and they never will let anyone forget, will they?
No, absolutely right. And of course, Liverpool will never play a game of football on the 15th of April ever again. And so by the time they play tonight, it's obviously going to be the 16th in the UK. But it's always a day of reflection. And crossing to my other favourite sport, baseball.
Yeah.
The real celebration day, the 15th of April. It's Jackie Robinson Day. Of course, Jackie Robinson broke the colour barrier 75 years ago today. So fantastic celebration. Every player in Major League Baseball today will be wearing number 42. And that comes from a great comment that Pee Wee Reese, who was playing second base alongside Jackie Robinson when he first broke in.
Yeah.
And he put his arm around Jackie's shoulders amidst the crowd and opposition booing him and trying to wind him up. And Pee Wee Reese put his arm around Jackie Robinson's shoulder and said, perhaps tomorrow we'll all play in the number 42 and nobody will be able to tell us apart.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a great, and I love the way baseball honors its legends as well. It's a great sport like that. And that guy just fought so many battles, didn't he? And it was just the way he held himself. I think that was even more than, he was a bloody amazing baseballer, obviously, to be the first one through. But just the way, the poise that man showed in the face of absolute hatred and all that sort of stuff, and the way he held himself all the way through his career, and just an absolute star, wasn't he?
And if you haven't seen the movie 42,
great movie.
Get it. I was going to say get the DVD out.
Go to Blockbuster Video today.
Get yourself in front of it. It's a fantastic movie, if you're not a baseball fan or a sports fan.
Absolutely,
it's a great story. And obviously, it's a true story. So, and I'll tell you what, you might be shocked. And
you will be. It's incredible. If it didn't happen, if it didn't really happen, you wouldn't believe it. It's one of those movies, isn't it? It's a great film.
Quite right. Now, overnight in the UK, there's been a couple of massive personnel changes. Now, Burnley have gone and sacked Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche is gone, mate.
Dyche is no longer manager of Burnley.
Oh, the man that sounds like he's chewing on gravel every time he talks. This is a terrible decision by Burnley. Okay, they've been struggling, but they struggle this time of year all the time. Yeah. I suppose they losing to Norwich was probably the last straw. But what are they going to do now? They're going to go out and get, like we said, Sam Allardyce for 8 games on a short term. Even if they win, I don't know. They're probably not going to stay up. Let's be honest. I just think this is a crazy decision by Burnley.
Yep. Well, the fans have really come out as the fans want to do with any club. Burnley's board have screwed our club, they're saying.
Yep.
We now look doomed to go down and might never return to the Premier League for a decade. We've lived the dream playing the Sean Dyche way, and now we've sacked him. It's devastating, say the fans.
Absolutely. You can't argue with them. I mean, look, you either make a decision at the end of the year. If he takes them down, you go, right, maybe you're not the right person to continue, or you sack him 6 months ago when you give a proper manager the right time to make the changes he might need. Sacking him now just does nothing.
Here's the list of
here we go. Here we go.
Sam Allardyce is the bookie's favourite.
Of course he is. He always is. Yep.
He'll come in and
firefighter.
The 9-1-1 formation or the 9-2-0 formation.
Men behind the ball.
Yep. Along with perennial contenders Alan Pardew,
Alan
Rafa Benitez, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are on the bookies list.
Oh, you reckon any of them could do a better job than what Sean Dyche has just done? No, of course not.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you remember back a few years where
Cardiff,
he was brought in to save Cardiff.
Yeah.
He ended up finishing bottom and well relegated.
Yep. Rafa Benitez, he's not one for a relegation battle before he gets sacked.
Did an amazing hatchet job at Everton.
Exactly. Sam Allardyce lost his no relegation thing after his previous
after West Brom went down.
Yeah, West Brom experience. So look, none of them are going to do a better job than Sean Dyche. He knows the players, he knows the culture of the team. I just think it's a crazy decision, but I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, this is just what Premier League clubs do, don't they?
Yeah. But as you say, they've been in this position, 7 times before in the past 10 years?
Every year they're in this position.
And, they've held faith in them, but this year they've obviously decided, obviously Chris Wood going in the transfer window is a huge loss.
No, they upgraded.
Of course.
Alan Pardew.
Yeah.
Where's he come from? I mean, the last time Alan Pardew was at Crystal Palace. The last time he managed in the top flight. I mean, that was a long time ago. Jesus Christ! I'm surprised. Roy Hodgson's in a job, isn't he?
He's getting Watford relegated. And the other massive personnel change overnight is England cricket captain Joe Root has stood down from his role as England Test captain on Friday morning.
Yeah, probably a good move. He hasn't been scoring any runs.
No, Martin Samuel in the Daily Mail's headline was Joe Root was a broken skipper in the Caribbean. Yeah, and it was clear his time was up before a single ball had been bowled. Of course, being in England, somebody's obviously been put as the bookie's favourite, and it's that Kiwi boy Ben Stokes.
Well, who else? I mean, they haven't really got anyone else in a senior role. I can't imagine anyone else would be. I mean, Joe Root should have quit the captaincy probably last year. Absolutely. He should just concentrate on his batting. And that means also that Kane Williamson is the last of the big four, isn't it? Because Virat Kohli's been given the Archer. Old Steve Smith's no longer captaining Australia. And Joe Root's gone as well. So Kane, the last of the big four, to still be captaining his nation.
Well, but you could say that he's actually not captaining his side at the moment.
He doesn't captain his nation.
New Zealand for 6 months.
No, he's having fun in India, isn't he? Collecting a couple of $1 million for 6 weeks' work. Good on him. Can't really blame him.
Yeah. So there we go. Celebrating those 2 dates and the 2 massive personnel changes. On to the big issues for this week.
Mate.
Don't know if you heard about this, but Chris Latham, the dynamic Wallabies fullback who was regarded as one of the most exciting players in the game in the late 1990s and early 2000s, was invited to speak at a media conference to promote the recent Queensland-New South Wales Super Rugby clash at Suncorp Stadium. The organisers were expecting a stock standard Reds Waratahs games are really tough and this one should be a beauty style presentation. Instead, what they got was the 78 Test veteran venting his frustrations at the way pedantic officiating and excessive whistleblowing is killing the game. Latham didn't hold back as he put the boot into people in charge who have turned rugby into a maze of nitpicking laws, complicated regulations, and high-tech interference. What do you reckon?
Well, you can't blame him, can you? I mean, this is
on the button.
Been my problem with rugby for quite a while. Although, having said that, I did watch a good game of rugby last night that I thought was fairly well officiated and it didn't have a lot of whistles. So it doesn't mean it always has to be like that. But yeah, I mean, he's preaching to the choir here, isn't he, with us, mate? I mean, we've been thinking this for ages.
Yes, and of course, his thoughts have been echoed in this country after a rash of red and yellow cards, and of course, in Super Rugby. And of course, Scott Barrett was sent off in that Crusaders Blues game last night.
He was, but I don't even think the Crusaders are arguing that one. Let's be honest. No, it was a red card.
Appeal for that one.
No.
And of course, the interesting situation of the Caleb Clark one a couple of weeks back. I was
interesting.
Surprised that they appealed that. I thought that was pretty cut and dried.
Yeah, you mentioned it to me. I hadn't actually seen it. And when you talked me through it, I thought, oh, yeah, well, it sounds like he's in the air. He can't really do much. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a bit nasty, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, if you can't control, it's a bit like football. If you're out of control, you're going to take the punishment, don't you? I mean, you're in the air. You don't really have a lot of control of where you're going to come down or who's going to run into you. That's your problem for jumping up like he did, I suppose. I felt sorry for the guy, but that's just the way it is. And the game of contact, and he made contact. So with the head, and that was a nasty collision, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and no, I mean, I know you don't watch a heck of a lot of rugby, but most of the red cards that I've seen in this season of Super Rugby, have pretty much all been justified.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, the one I saw last night, I could not argue with it. I mean, you slow it down. It's, contact, shoulder to contact to the head. I mean, you just can't argue. I mean, today's
people will say it's accidental, but
you can. But you're
putting yourself in that position.
Exactly, and the sport has to protect high contact, doesn't it? I mean, we've been watching it for long enough now to know that they've got to mitigate against that, and they've made rules now, and yes, they're tough on them, but what are you going to do, man? If you don't send someone off for that sort of thing, you're just going to get guys whacking into each other's heads all the time, aren't you? It's not safe. So no.
What did you think of the new rule around sending offs, where the player can be replaced after 20 minutes?
I like that, don't you? I mean, because we've seen so many games. 20 minutes is long enough. 20 minutes is long enough off the field that the other team gets a good enough advantage. It's twice as bad as a yellow card, but it doesn't wreck the game completely, does it?
And the Blues took advantage of that 20 minutes.
They did. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, 20 minutes to me is long enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a quarter of a game.
That's right. That's right. It's a big penalty. It's a big penalty.
Of the game.
And it also means that, if someone else commits foul play, they can send them off again and they won't be down to 13 as well. Unless obviously the other guy's already been marched. But I mean, you know what I mean? You're going to get back to the full complement of players at some stage. I like it. I think it's eminently common sense, which is not something that I can always say about rugby lawmakers. So
very good segue, actually, talking about common sense, because New Zealand Rugby's review of the recent Black Ferns tour has turned into an absolute sham going against common sense, with the review highlighting extensive cultural and environmental issues within the camp following an Instagram post by Prop. And I hope I don't mess the name up.
I want to hear this.
Guranata Aringamate.
Oh, beautiful.
Who accused the coach of saying she'd only been picked to go on tour so she could play the guitar. Then New Zealand Rugby basically ignores the issues raised by reappointing head coach Glenn Moore. Since the results were announced and a high-profile leader in the game has come out in support of the players, that these issues have been around for a long time. The chair of Women in Rugby Aotearoa, Tracy Hopapa, says she has talked to former players from over a decade ago that suffered the same sort of environment. This is just atrocious.
It makes me think that New Zealand Rugby really doesn't care about women.
Yeah.
I mean, they made those stupid posts on Mother's Day. Which is only a couple of months ago, which really was cat out the bag stuff. Then they're doing this. Then, I mean, the New Zealand, the Black Ferns used to be number one in the world. It wasn't that long ago. It was maybe a decade ago. Now they're getting thrashed by 50 points. Something's not right, eh? Something's not right. Not just with the playing. I mean, I don't know whether it's nepotism as far as the coaching appointments go and all that sort of thing. It's jobs for the boys, which is, the boys. I mean, what's wrong with having a female coach? I don't know. Maybe there's no one qualified.
Well, on the news the other night, former Blackfern Anna Richards, who was a superstar of the game.
She led the game for a long time.
Got all her coaching credentials, but she can't get a job in New Zealand.
Well, there you go.
So she's being employed overseas. Ideal opportunity to appoint an experienced ex-player who's now coaching the game.
Who's a female,
in charge of a female team.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, what can you say? I mean, let the women run their game. I mean, they seem to know what they're doing. I mean, they used to. I don't know. New Zealand Rugby.
They do know what they're doing.
Yeah. And at the moment, I mean, look at those results in that World Cup. It was just so disappointing, wasn't it? It really was. They need to pick up the slack. Otherwise, the sport in this country, we've already talked about it on previous podcasts. I mean, the sport all over is dying.
Yeah.
They want to nurture this female side of it because you've got a whole bunch of new people that you can bring in to the game, and yet it just seems like they're dropping the ball all over the place.
Yep.
It's terrible, mate. What can you say?
Well,
I mean,
don't forget, this is New Zealand Rugby we're talking about.
I know.
We haven't exactly got the greatest track record of this sort of thing.
No. They need to get in some people, make some common sense decisions, mate.
Yeah. If only we were in charge.
If only. If only.
What's happening in the football world?
Oh, mate, so much going on. We're still in the running, aren't we? Liverpool's still in the running for this quadruple, which has been plastered on the wall, and that's what we're aiming for. But really, if we get a double, who cares? I mean, really, that's the whole thing. We've had a couple of draws since we last spoke, haven't we? But really, they haven't really been too bad for us because, of course, we've drawn with City in the league. That was a great game, 2-2. I thought we played fairly poorly in the first half. I looked a little bit overrun and overwrought, and second half we played a lot better. Got that equaliser just in the second half, and then of course we drew in the Champions League as well. But of course we're through on away goals. I nearly said that.
Aggregate.
We're through on aggregate. So a couple of draws. We're still in for the quadruple, aren't we? Benfica, we eased past 6-4 on aggregate. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Man City's treble is still on as well. They scraped past Atletico Madrid in what was such a hot and fiery tempted game. My God, Phil Foden was getting smashed all over the place, and then he actually got manhandled and picked up, didn't he? By one of the players,
a former Man City player,
Savage. He was had taken his angry pills, hadn't he? He tried to headbutt Raheem Sterling, and it was just a nasty, spiteful game, but they got the result they wanted in the end. It was a 0-0 draw, and meant they went through after leading 1-0 after the first leg, which means that Man City will now play the semi-final against. They'll go back to Madrid, won't they? They'll play against the Real Madrid after.
What a game that was!
That was an incredible game.
It's Chelsea.
Oh, tell me about that, mate.
Yeah, well. I mean, Real Madrid led 3-1 on aggregate from the first leg at Chelsea.
Yep.
Chelsea went to Madrid with nothing to lose, led 3-0 within 5 minutes of the second half starting. Yep. And were cruising to making the semi-final, and then
Modric
Rodrigo comes on the field off the bench, pops the ball in the back of the net, takes the game to extra time, and that Karim Benzema,
Karim the Dream.
He's a fine red wine, that man. He gets better with age.
He is.
Great header to win the game for Real Madrid.
And that Modric pass, what did you make of that Modric pass? That was just
unbelievable.
Just to see someone hit it with the outside of your foot and the ball. There was one view of it, I think, from behind where you saw the curl of it and the way the guy could just take it on the body. It was just pinpoint, wasn't it? Yeah. Right on the foot. Amazing.
I had to laugh. Rio Ferdinand said after the game that he lost his voice. Oh, lovely.
Just kissing the wife.
Voice after that Modric pass.
Oh, it was just one of the best passes I think I've ever seen in my life. The guy is just an absolute cracker of a player, isn't he? He's like a fine wine as well. So you got Real Madrid versus Manchester City in one semi-final. That should be an absolute cracker. And then the surprise packets, Villarreal,
Wow.
getting
Yeah,
through,
Unai
beating
Emery.
Bayern Munich.
The European Cup's king. He's won 4 Europa Leagues with Seville. He's won. They beat Man United in the Europa League final last year with Villarreal. Can he do it again against Liverpool?
They've knocked out Juventus. They've knocked out Bayern Munich.
Ajax, yeah.
Who's to say that they can't, beat Liverpool? I mean, we'll go there. I mean, I don't think we'll be as complacent as those previous teams. No. We'll be ready to play. But obviously, I mean, they've got something, man. They've got all these basically failures from the Premier League that have played in other teams, like Dan Juma and all these guys that have played in relegated teams. And they put Lo Celso that used to play for Spurs. He looks like 5 times the player that he was when he played for Spurs. So, they'll be dangerous. But, I mean, I must say I'm pretty happy we're playing Villarreal rather than Bayern Munich. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Mind you, we've done it to Bayern Munich before.
We have.
On our way to European glory in 2019.
Yeah.
But, no questions about it. This semi-final against Villarreal is going to be difficult. The first league's at Anfield.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, we'll be able to travel to Spain with the tie already locked up.
I think that's the key leg, isn't it? Yeah, that's the key leg, the first leg. If we can win at home, I think Man City's got the first leg at home as well. So, if we can win at home by 2 or 3 goals, I mean, we'll basically hopefully put it to bed, But if we go over there with just a 1-goal lead or a draw, squeaky bum time, mate. I mean, but anyway... We could be in the Champions League final against Man City or Real Madrid.
Yeah. I think I'd rather meet Real Madrid than Man City.
Definitely. I'm getting sick of Man City. And we will be by tonight when they play in the FA Cup semi-final as well.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we played someone else. The race for 4th place was thrown into disarray in the Premier League in the last fortnight. Before our previous podcast, I was basically saying I thought Arsenal were going to bolt them, but they've had a couple of losses recently, and Spurs are on fire. They're holding a 3-point lead over Arsenal now, who lost to struggling Brighton, while Antonio Conte's team have picked up maximum points in their last 4 games, and they've been playing some great football too, and sit 3 points ahead of Arsenal, who now have a game in hand with West Ham and United. I think they're both gone, aren't they? A further 3 points back, meaning 6 points separate the 4 favourites. So it's basically Arsenal or Tottenham. I'll tell you what, Manchester United must be really, really pleased they didn't get Antonio Conte for a manager, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's rumours around that Cristiano Ronaldo put the kibosh on that.
Well, that's what you get for listening to your player.
Exactly.
He wouldn't want to work under Antonio Conte because he'd make him run.
Yeah, make him do some work.
Make him work, exactly.
Yes, well, we've talked about the bottom 3 already, and I still believe it looks set. Both leagues, Everton picking up a win over some side from same city as Manchester City.
That was
United.
It was an absolute Bobby Dazzler, mate. Fantastic. 1-0. Just when your team needs some points, play Manchester United. And of course, in that other game, who did they play? They played Leicester City, I think, in that other game, didn't they? Yep. That was our Hot Air Sports best bet of the week, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
A draw, of course. Great
I hope
result.
You got on that because it was paying $4.50, I think, at the time.
Good money.
Yeah. So, Burnley, Watford, Norwich, still my favourites to go down. Leeds have picked up points in the last few weeks.
And if Everton can just win a couple more matches, but they've got a tough run. So who knows?
Yeah, well, there's 4 points between them and Burnley, and I think they've played the same number of games now.
Yeah.
Which means it's sort of, she's down to the wire, but I think we're going to see those 3 are going to be the ones that are going down.
I think so. What's happening in the championship, mate? It looks like Fulham and Bournemouth are definitely coming up, right?
Yeah, it looks like that. Although they had there were games this morning. but Fulham and Bournemouth still look set to take out the automatic promotion spots. But Fulham lost 2-1 this morning to relegation contenders Derby, which was a big result for Wayne Rooney's side.
I saw the young boy Carvalho scored for Fulham. He's the guy that Liverpool have signed on a pre-contract transfer. He looks like a top little prospect, doesn't he? He looks a little bit like a young Coutinho.
Yeah, so Derby still probably going to go down. They're 9 points behind.
That was a good win for them today, though, beating Fulham. Though. I think if they had lost today, they probably would have been guaranteed to go down. So hang it in there by their fingernails.
Certainly are.
Yeah.
With Bournemouth and Huddersfield both drawing, it still leaves a 4-point gap between second and third.
Yeah.
But there are 6 teams within 7 points of each other battling for 4 playoff spots. And another surprise for me this morning was Luton Town 1-0 winners over Nottingham Forest. And, Luton currently sit in 4th spot. So in the 4 spots at the moment are Huddersfield Town, Luton Town, Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United. A couple of points back are Middlesbrough and Blackburn Rovers. And
all of those great old clubs too, aren't they? Really, when you read those names, that could have been the first division table from 1978, couldn't it?
Quite right. And just another point back are Coventry and Millwall. So, I mean, there's 6 points separating 4th to 10th.
Wow. Yeah, the most competitive league in the world.
Oh, absolutely. So, interesting times ahead. So we'll follow the championship closely over the next few weeks.
In other managerial goings on, looks like Ajax boss Erik ten Hag has apparently been offered the poison chalice at Old Trafford, with United sounding out the Dutch champions Ajax for compensation. Obviously, it was all in the press that he'd been interviewed and all that sort of thing. What does that translate to? Eric 10-0 or what 10 Hag? What does that mean?
It's 3 years of misery for him, isn't it? He's got a hell of a job to do. He's going to have to get rid of 75% of the playing squad that he's got.
Yep.
Including Ronaldo, Fernandes, Cavani, Maguire.
Bill Jones, he's still there. He's still there, collecting £150,000 a week.
Yep.
There's so much dead wood. I mean, the whole thing is, though, will he be able to stay 3 years while he's doing that job? That's the whole thing. If you clear out that much talent, you're going to be losing games. You know, you're just going to lose games. And if you lose games as United manager, are they going to be able to take the pain for the gain, you know?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, the club owners, who I'm quite happy for them to stay there. I know the fans want the owners out, but as long as those owners stay there, I can't see... I can see another 15 years of misery for Man United, despite Ryan Giggs saying that they would never go through what Liverpool went through in the 90s and 2000s.
No, it's like it's the same as the Mike Ashley thing, really, at Newcastle United. Until they change that, the atmosphere there won't change. You've seen once they've changed the ownership at Newcastle, the whole club has gone through a transformation. I think, the Glazers at United, they've just got business on the mind, haven't they? They really haven't got football on the mind. They've just got the brand United. They want to sell shirts. They want to use it to leverage. This is the whole thing. It's all about the money, moving money around and marketing it and trying to make it the biggest sports brand in the world so they can sell more jerseys and make more money. And until they, get an owner who actually thinks more about the football and more about the community, I think it's just going to go on and on and on, eh?
Yeah. Well, just another story on the Daily Mail. Apparently, when the Man United Chiefs went over to Holland to interview Erik ten Hag, the headline says Ajax boss Erik ten Hag left Man United Chiefs stunned as he ripped the Red Devils apart, savaging their recruitment, scouting, and entire setup.
Nice.
So,
So he's talking truth. I mean, he's talking. Yeah. I will be interested to see whether he's still doing that after 12 months in the job, though.
Yes, quite right. If he's still there in 12 months.
Yeah, well, that'll take that'll take real balls, really, won't
Yep. Now, Europa League and Conference Leagues.
it? Been going off there too, mate.
Tasty-looking games coming up.
Oh,
West Ham, Rangers, and Leicester all advanced to the semi-finals of their respective competitions. In the Europa League, West Ham in France win 3-0 in Lyon.
they played well
play
too.
Barcelona's conquerors, Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah,
So Barcelona out.
they got smashed. They got smashed.
Yeah, Rangers, they needed extra time to beat Spanish side Braga 3-1 and will meet RB Leipzig in the semis. And all British finalists still a chance if West Ham and Rangers progress. How good would that be?
West Ham and Rangers in the final of the Europa League. That'd be great. Yeah. I think RB Leipzig are probably the favourites for this one, though. I mean, they're a top side. They've got some really good players. So,
yep. And Leicester City score late in a stunning come from behind.
They did 2 late goals.
Eindhoven to progress to the semi-finals of the Conference League. And did you see who they're going to meet in the semi-finals?
Who are they meeting in the semi-finals?
Jose Mourinho.
Roma.
And his Roma team.
Even though they got beaten in the first league, did they come back in the second league? Did they, Roma? Interesting. That'd be a very interesting game.
So Brendan Rodgers will be very proud. Very
proud to my team. Great character. So Rodgers takes on Mourinho again. That'll be a fantastic game. At the Olympic Stadium as well in Rome. Fantastic.
Yes, so that'll be home and away for those teams. Good work for the English and Scottish sides to get to those semi-finals.
What's happening with football locally, mate? And we're talking locally too, aren't we?
We are talking locally. I'm off to Ron Jardine Stadium tomorrow to watch the Wellington Phoenix, or probably should call it Shane Smeltz Stadium.
Or Tana Rumunga stand.
Yeah, well, it is a football game, so
true.
Could be a footballer.
Yeah.
Yes, off to Sky Stadium tomorrow. They're playing the Central Coast in the capital tomorrow, followed by a match against West Sydney Wanderers in Auckland a week later.
Beautiful.
The hope for fans is that the team gets a home final, which has been confirmed that it will be in New Zealand. So amazing. Wellington, I would guess. So
and they've had some ups and downs since we last spoke, mate. They've played a few games. They're getting thrashed a couple of times, and they got a good old thrashing in themselves. And last night or the night before, they won 1-0 against Perth as well. So
they did, yeah. They had those 2 horrid games against Melbourne City and Central Coast, where they lost 6-0 and 5-0. And that was followed by consecutive wins over Western United and Perth Glory, leaving them in 5th place, 4 points behind 7th placed. 4 points ahead of 7th place MacArthur, with Sydney sandwiched in between, 2 points behind in 6th, but having played 3 more games. I still think 2nd place is a realistic goal for the Phoenix, with leaders Melbourne City on 46, Western United on 38, Victory on 37, and Adelaide on 34, just a point ahead of the Phoenix on 33. The Wellington side has played 2 games less than Adelaide and 3 games less than City, but the same as Western United and Melbourne Victory. So
how many home games are they going to have between now? I mean, when I say home, and New Zealand, are they going to have before the now and the end of the season? 2. Just the 2 games.
Yeah, so they've got 2 home games, and then they've got 3 away games.
And then hopefully a home game in the semi-final in Wellington. That would be amazing. Well, go the Phoenix. I mean,
go the Phoenix.
Lots of ups and downs, but they've had lots of injuries, I know, and also, of course, with the international break, losing a lot of players. It must just be so hard for Ufuk Talay to sort of know who's in any position at any one time. And I'm just so proud of the way they've played this year, because really, you and I...
You're very proud.
you and I picked them to not do very well this year, didn't we? So, no, it's been a nice surprise.
Now, changing tack a wee bit, I've heard a wee whisper. It might be the Warriors' year.
It's our year! Where'd you hear that, mate? Where'd you hear that? Come on.
Might have been you.
Might have been. I think I've been yelling it from the rooftops because since we last spoke, mate, the Warriors have remained unbeaten. We've played 2 more games. We've now got a 3-2 winning record. After great results against the Broncos, 20-6, that was probably their most complete performance of the season after the previous win against the Tigers, which was the most ugly win I've ever seen. They actually played some good football in that Broncos win. And last week's exciting Golden Point win against the Cowboys, 25-24. Really, really good win. I was very, very happy. I scared the neighbours, I think. I think they thought there was a murder going on in an empty house with just me here. The Warriors were behind and chasing the game all night, and they looked to be going as the halftime break, trailing 18-6 before a 40-20 from man of the match, Chanel Harris-Tavita, led to a Josh Curran try, and the Cowboys led 18-12 at the break. Cody Nikorima darted out of dummy half. It looked a little bit like Alan Langer used to do in the old days. Yeah, the way he just sort of waddled around. No one touched him. Untouched under the posts. Tied the score as 18-all. Tries to Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys and Ewan Atkins for the Warriors followed before the final whistle to have the teams tied 24-all at full time. And after Sean Johnson missed one field goal attempt, he finally iced his second with an ugly kick to finally grab that famous win for the Warriors. So we're 3-2, mate. Johnson is looking better each week, actually. During his second coming at the Warriors, there are great signs of the partnerships growing with Chanel Harris-Tavita in the halves and Reece Walsh at fullback. I've been waiting to see the two of them combine, and they're looking like they're starting to develop a partnership. He finished with 23 run meters, a line break assist, a try assist, and a crucial winning field goal for Sean Johnson, and a great all-round performance. But it was Chanel Harris-Tavita for me, especially in defence, who grabbed the man of the match honours. He's just absolutely great in defence. I love it. Small man, very, very brave. At the end of the game, he dived head first on the ball, got kicked in the face, went off with a broken nose. I just love brave plays like that, especially from backs. He's a real comer, Chanel. Really pleased with how he was going. In other games from round 5, Newcastle lost to Manly 30-6. Broncos lost to the Roosters 20-24. Canberra lost to the Storm 16-30. The Rabbits beat the Dragons 24-12. The Titans lost to the Eels 20-26. That was a close one. Sharks beat the Tigers, poor old Tigers, 30-4. And the Bulldogs lost to the Panthers 12-32. The Warriors now face a tough stretch of 5 games. They've got the Roosters tomorrow, then the Storm, Raiders, Sharks, and the Rabbits. Shall we do it? Now, let's just do a quick table recap, if I can bring it up here for you.
Actually, before you do that, there's with it being Easter, there's already been 3 games.
There have been.
The Cowboys 18-12 over the Raiders, the Rabbits 36-16 over the Bulldogs, and the Panthers absolutely annihilated the Broncos 40-12.
They are such a good side, the Panthers. I mean, I can only dream of what may have happened if we had have kept Ivan Cleary at the Warriors. So the Panthers, top of the table, mate. They're on 12 points. They've won all 6 of their games. And then there's a bit of a backlog. So Sharks, Storm, and Eels all on 8. They're definitely the top 4 at this stage, and form-wise and everything, really, roster-wise. So that's the top 4. And then on 6 points, you've got a bit of a logjam. Cowboys, Rabbits, Roosters, Seagulls, and Warriors all on 6 points. But of course, the Cowboys and the Rabbits have both played one more game. They've played 6 games. So Roosters, Seagulls, and Warriors. So we're actually playing the Roosters this week. So that's going to be very vital for who gets. So obviously, if we win that game, we could actually go into the top 4. And then the Titans on 4 points, the Knights on 4 points, the Raiders on 4 points, the Broncos on 4 points, and bring up the rear. You got the Dragons and the Bulldogs on 2, and poor old West Tigers, who still haven't got a win.
Horrible, aren't they?
They're a terrible side. I don't know how long Madge Maguire can hold on there as coach. That's just as bad as it gets. In Warriors team news versus the Roosters on Sunday, Dylan Watini-Zeleznia is expected to return a bit earlier than expected because he's got to replace Martelo Montoya, who
naughty boy,
suspended for calling a guy a bunch of sticks. I don't know about this. I mean, look, homophobic slur. Was he really referencing anything to do with his sexuality? Was he really? I know. Look, I know you can't say it. I know you can't. But during the game, I am sure I heard a number of F and C's. And that word, the C word, surely is just as offensive as the F word.
Yeah.
Not the other word, the bunch of sticks. So. I don't know. He got 4 weeks for it, man. 4 weeks for it. So it's just it's the wrong thing to say.
Times we live in, Aaron.
I know, but it's just the things I see on a rugby league field that and the things that you hear, the abuse you hear from the sidelines. It's like anyway. So he's out anyway, and Dylan Watini-Zalesny to return, which should be good. The Warriors are set to play their game in the very cool Heritage jersey from 20 years ago when they made the grand final against the Roosters. The Roosters' last grand final win was 2002 when they beat the Warriors, and the Warriors are going to wear the same jersey they wore in the grand final in 2002. I hope the Roosters wear their Heritage jersey as well. That'd be quite nice. I just hope the side can channel the brilliance of that side. Stacey Ali, Clinton Tupi, PJ Marsh, Francis Melly, Henry Farfeli, and I just hope they can channel those guys and match the Roosters, because the Roosters are looking pretty good this year when they play them tomorrow. So really looking forward to see the Warriors smash the Roosters tomorrow.
Quite right.
Got some more other Warriors news. The team don't want to return on-loan centre Jesse Arthurs to the Broncos and are attempting to sign him full-time. That would be a great move as far as I'm concerned. He's been one of the real comers this year. Looks really, really good, but it'll probably be just our luck. He'll develop into a world-class centre, and then he'll return to the Broncos next year. It's been reported that Matt Lodge is set to move on from the Warriors after he knocked back a $2.1 million extension deal. He's looking in good form to me, and I don't know where he's going to get more money. So to me, it looks like he'll probably be off to the Dolphins. And it's understood that the Warriors have signed exciting prospect, 19-year-old halfback Ronald Volkman. Sounds more like a footballer, really, doesn't he?
He does.
From the Roosters on a 3-year deal from 2023. He's been tipped as a very exciting rookie to watch. What does this mean for Chanel Harris-Tavita and Reece Walsh's future at the club? I'd hope they'd be staying. But for Cody and Ash Taylor, I'd suggest it could signal the end of their time at the Warriors. This guy has been highly touted as a very, very good player. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in Warriors colours next year. Ronald Volkman.
I thought he played centre midfield for the Netherlands at the 78 World Cup.
He's a very talented multi-sportsman. Yes, that's right. Holding midfielder and exactly. And so that's our rugby league wrap, mate. Bring on the Warriors tomorrow night.
Quite right. Go the Warriors.
Go the Warriors. Go the mighty Vodafone Warriors. Don't forget the Vodafone.
We've touched on it earlier in the program. Super Rugby Pacific seems to be back on track with no cancelled games and a few catch-up games already in the books, and the ladder looks a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
Massive game in the scheme of things last night. Saw the Blues edge out the Crusaders 27-23.
Yeah.
Thriller in Christchurch. The Northerners' first success in the Garden City
since
18 years.
2004. Yeah. I think Carlos was playing for them way back.
Yep, that was when he gave the big welcome signal to the Canterbury fans.
That's right. Since that means that we haven't won down in Christchurch since before Istanbul.
Correct.
When Liverpool won the Champions League for the fifth time.
Yep.
Unbelievable it's been that long. This is my first game that I've watched live. I watched that game last night, and it was a really entertaining game of rugby. I really enjoyed it. Not just because it was close. It was a hard game. There was some absolutely amazing talent. Two players I'd like to single out. First of all, Will Jordan. I mean, wow.
He's a freak.
He is just a freak every single time he gets the ball. Every single time he breaks tackles. He's just a phenomenal player. And Dalton Papali'i for me, for the Blues, just a great. We mentioned him in the same breath as Richie McCaw last year. And to me, he's making every post a winner. This guy's just looking like an absolute champion to me. Looks like a future All Black captain to me.
Quite right. So the Blues now sit alone at the top of the table, but just on points difference from the Brumbies after both sides were locked second equal last week. The Brumbies have got a bye this weekend, and last night's other game, the Reds held out the Rebels just by 4 points, 36-32. So that sounds like it would have been an entertaining game. In other games tonight, this weekend, the Chiefs host Moana Pacifica, while the Hurricanes travel south to play the Highlanders.
What's happened to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I thought they were, I think the score flattered the Blues last week.
Yeah. Held them to nil, didn't they? Blotted them.
The Chiefs did score 3 tries.
Oh, okay.
But were
ruled out by VAR
for different reasons.
For offside.
Yeah. There was an supposed interference by Sam Cane. As I think it wasn't Leonard Brown. It was Nenai Saturo, I think.
Oh yeah.
Scored under the post, but it was pulled back for a supposed interference. And the Waratahs travel west to play the Western Force in Perth. As I mentioned, the Brumbies, Blues sitting atop from the Brumbies on points differential. Then you have, once I bring that up again, the Reds are in third, followed by the Crusaders. That's your top four. Then it's Waratahs, Chiefs, Hurricanes, and Western Force, while the Rebels, Highlanders, Fiji, and Drua, and Moana Pacifica sit outside the playoff spots.
Nice. And we've got crossover games coming, haven't we?
We do, coming up very soon, and I think it's in a couple of weeks' time. They're having the league-style Super Round, which will be played in Melbourne over a weekend in May. So there'll be 6 Super Rugby games
at the same venue.
Melbourne.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a good idea.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that idea wasn't from the New Zealand Rugby Union.
I put money on that. Yes, that'll be interesting. Especially because I think the Kiwi sides are probably a bit sick of playing each other. In fact, it's next weekend over Anzac weekend.
Nice.
You've got Chiefs will play the Waratahs, Moana Pacifica will play Western Force, Blues against Fiji and Drua, Hurricanes, Reds, Highlanders play the Brumbies, and the Crusaders play the Rebels.
You're probably right though.
Yeah. And so this round this weekend is the last of the all Kiwi and all Aussie rounds. So it's
quite a good one. What do you think? I quite like the way of doing it with the New Zealand teams first and then going off and because what it does, it gives you a taste of all these teams playing each other, and then it gives you a break of them all. Like they're playing other teams for a while, so it sort of mixes it up a little bit instead of playing another Australian side. Now we're sort of excited to be playing the Australian sides again because we haven't played them for a while. So works out.
Now, going back to our good friends at New Zealand Rugby, they've delayed signing on the dotted line of the $300 million Silver Lake deal.
Oh, really? I thought it was already signed.
Yeah, until the AGM later in the year. Apparently, some of the provincial unions have asked a few curly questions about the deal. So they want some answers. The deal received the support of the NZRPA earlier this year, but as I mentioned, is still not in place. So interesting to see what comes out of those provincial unions.
Yeah, I was going to say, wonder what the questions are.
Yeah.
Wonder whether those similar questions that we've been asking. But anyway, I'd like someone to ask some pointed questions of the New Zealand Rugby Union. Exactly where is this money going? Would be a good question. Yeah.
Well, they have sort of said that all the top 14 provinces will all get $1 million, and all the heartland provinces will get $500,000.
Okay, but this is just like, you'll get this money, Okay, so when, how, will it be ongoing? There's lots of questions. Yeah. It's so easy to say, it's like FIFA, we'll give you $2 million. It's like,
if it's ongoing, are there conditions around continuing to get funding?
Exactly.
If you just blow your $500,000 or your $1 million within a couple of months on pathetic things.
Will there be Will there be any accountability?
Exactly. Yeah. Look at what counties have done. Dale Budgie was talking about it a couple of weeks ago when we had him on the podcast, and he was saying that the counties sold their buildings and the stadium so they could build a new facility and are renting back their current facilities. So what they've done is invested that money in something tangible that is going to be there for forever.
Common sense.
Well, common sense, New Zealand Rugby, same sentence? No.
Yeah, no, there should be some provisos around where that money's going. It should be in infrastructure. It should be in something tangible, like you say, where they can get some money back, not just go and blow it on, hey, we need a first division hooker. Let's go buy this guy. And, so-and-so, the president hasn't been, car, needs a new car. Let's go get him a new car. And, it's like, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting to see what happens there.
It will be. The
cricket season's come to an end, mate. What happens?
Has it? Does it ever come to an end? Come on, the IPL's on.
the home season.
The Black Caps, of course, cruised to victory in their 3 one-day internationals against the Netherlands. It was never in doubt, really, was it, mate? Closing the curtains on the home season and, of course, also closing the curtains on a stellar career from our Ross Taylor, of course. What a player he's been for New Zealand. He made his debut for New Zealand in 2006. He played 112 tests. I mean, when you first saw him all those years ago with that slog sweep and all that sort of thing, you thought this guy's going to play 112 tests for New Zealand.
Not sure.
Never would have thought that. 236 one-day internationals, 102 T20s, and he's the only player in the history of the game to play over 100 games in each format. His 7,683 test runs is highest for a Kiwi, with 1900s, 35 50s, his highest score of 290 versus Australia in Perth. Although
what an innings that was.
That was, he could have batted forever that game. I was away on a mancation in Australia, and in Australia when that, and he just seemed to go on and on and on. They just couldn't get him out. The Aussies just couldn't get him out. Although he's obviously likely to be overtaken by Kane Williamson's for total of runs, 7,272 he's got, so he's only about 400 behind. He's New Zealand's highest one-day international run scorer, 8,607 runs with 21 centuries, 51 50s, highest score of 181 not out on one leg in Dunedin against England, and 1,909 runs in T20s with 750s, a total of 18,199 runs in international cricket. He hit the winning runs in the World Test Championship in the final in 2021 and will be remembered as one of New Zealand's greatest ever cricketers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's up there. He's in my top 5 New Zealand cricketers of all time. You've got the legends, Sir Paddles, to Richard Hadley, Martin Crowe, Kane Williamson, and Ross Taylor is there or thereabouts as well. Just an unbelievable cricketer. That 181 not out he scored in Dunedin against England, that was one of the most incredible innings I've ever seen him play. He damaged his quad when he was on about 50 or 60.
Not much, yeah.
And just basically just stood there and slogged the ball out of University Oval. It was one of the most amazing
feats of hitting,
It was just power hitting, yeah.
It
reminded me a hell of a lot of Nathan Astle's double century at Lancaster Park.
It was.
I think at one stage he absolutely got hold of one, and it bounced just inside the boundary, and a fielder was able to get his hand to it, but he just stood there and said, "No run."
Yeah.
An incredible innings, and he'll be sadly missed.
Yeah, and a great personality too, man. I mean, I loved it. He was a humble dude. He was never really a great one for talking. I remember when he first got the captaincy job, and even the way he handled that, being the captain, and then class act. Loved red wine and KFC as well, and sometimes together too, which is if not, kind of a unique sort of culinary delights. Ross Taylor, mate, you'll be sadly missed by New Zealand cricket, but never forgotten.
Yep. Hopefully he'll still be around the game, whether he ends up in the broadcast booth or
the coaching,
or something.
He'll do something.
That.
Yeah.
But apparently, at his home in Hamilton, he's got to do the lawns now.
Fair enough too. He's probably had a guy going around every couple of months to do that, and now he can save himself $30 a month. Good on him.
All right. Australia's got a new coach in Victorian, Andrew McDonald, who has taken over from Justin Langer, who now appears to be favourite to take over the coaching of the England team. So Andrew McDonald's first test series will be against the Ashes in England this winter.
You're kidding.
And would be against the former Australian captain, who was his boss, because Andrew McDonald was Justin Langer's number 2.
Unbelievable. He'll be taking on his own mentor.
Yeah.
I did notice also there was someone else in the coaching team for the Australian national team, which I thought was fairly interesting. And he's not an Australian either. He's a Kiwi.
He is a Kiwi.
Daniel Vittori. What the hell are you doing, you bloody traitor?
I saw a photo of him wearing his Australian gear, and it just looked wrong.
It looks
It
so
just looked
wrong.
wrong.
So wrong.
It was like Steven Gerrard wearing a Manchester United shirt. It made me, just
I know.
chill up my spine.
Should not be allowed. Should not be allowed.
No.
I mean, it's a little bit different doing the IPL. That's fine. You can go and coach those franchise teams, but internationally, Daniel. I mean, you might have been in my top 5 New Zealand cricketers. Macca's named his. You probably were in one of my 5. Don't think you'll be in there anymore, son. Shame on you. Shame on you.
And finally, in cricket, congratulations to Tim Southey winning the Richard Hadley Medal for top performance in cricket for the last calendar year. So
absolutely,
Timmy.
He's been bowling like Richard Hadley recently too. So
he's starting to catch Sir Paddles.
I know.
He's climbing up the wicket numbers. He's got less than 100 to go now. So
yep, and there's nothing. I mean, so many times I've doubted Tim Southey for injury, for all sorts of age and all that sort of stuff, and he just seems to come back and come back and come back and come back. So who would doubt the guy getting the extra 100 wickets and becoming New Zealand's best ever wicket taker? Unbelievable.
Yeah, would be very well deserved, and that would cement him in my top 5.
There you go.
There you go.
On your Mount Rushmore.
On that's a 5-headed Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it'd have to be 5.
4-headed one.
Yeah. Well, they're going to put Trump's head up there, aren't they, in America in the end? Yeah.
No. Baseball lockout.
What's going on? What's going on with the baseball? Are they playing?
Baseball's back, baby, and I'm loving it. Just about every team has got off to a pretty standard start. No team has a huge winning record yet after a week. No team has a terrible losing record apart from the obvious one, Baltimore Orioles. They're 1-5 after their first 6 games. And they've now got a 3-game series against the Yankees, who have started off pretty well, 4-3 after their first home stand against the Boston Red Sox, beat the Red Sox 2-1 and squared a series with the Toronto Blue Jays.
4-3 sounds like a Warriors record, mate. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's only week 1 of what? About another 30 weeks to go.
400. Yeah. Yeah, plenty of time. Plenty of time.
A bit of a shock on opening day. The Yankees and Aaron Judge couldn't agree on a contract extension deal before the season started. The Yankees offered Judge $213.5 million over 7 years, so averaging more than $30 million a year. But the Giants slugger turned down the offer, meaning he'll be a free agent at season's end, which is a bit of a risk for him and also for the Yankees, who now face a battle to keep him in the Bronx.
So what's he getting paid at the moment then?
Well, that still hasn't been finalised yet, because he is in his last year of arbitration.
Yeah.
He's asked for 21 million and the Yankees have offered him 17 million. So that's going to go to arbitration.
Okay.
So basically the Yankees, that deal that I just said, 213.5 million over 7 years, is due to start next year. So at the beginning of 2023. So effectively, with the 17 million that they'd offered him this year, it was effectively $230 million over 8 years.
Okay.
But he's turned that down.
What's your thoughts, though? Is it going to get done?
I think it will get done. He said at the beginning and during spring training, once the season starts, he didn't want to do any negotiating because it would be a distraction. But the parties are going to have to talk anyway to finalise a salary for this season. So hopefully the Yankees can come back with a better offer. I think he's worth more. But the big question is staying fit. Judge has openly said he wants to be a Yankee for life.
Yeah.
The organisation couldn't match his demands. Given his injury history, it seems a bigger risk for Judge, though, having missed large chunks of 3 of his 6 seasons in the majors so far. So, if he comes out and has a blinder this year.
If he has a stellar season,
it's 40 home runs, 100 RBI.
They'll just give him they'll give him what he wants.
280. They'll probably give him what he wants. But if he breaks down and only plays 100 games this year, and then going into free agency, other clubs are not going to be that interested in signing him up, apart from maybe the Dodgers or the Evil Empire, the Red Sox. So yeah, a bit of a risk on both behalves. Rather than dealing with one club at the moment, he's going to be dealing with 30 clubs come the end of this season. So we'll just watch this space and we'll see what happens. The Kiwis are back at it in minor league action. Jason Matthews has been assigned to Chicago White Sox affiliate Winston-Salem Dyche. They are in High A and are based in North Carolina.
Their rivals are the North Carolina Dots.
Yeah, that's one. He's taken part in 2 games so far, scoring twice in 5 at-bats, walking 3 of those times. Hasn't got a hit yet, but I'm sure they'll come. He played 1 game at shortstop and the second in his unfamiliar position of third base. So we'll be watching his progress closely. Ben Thompson's back at the Augusta Green Jackets, one of the Atlanta Braves affiliates. He's in High A, so he could end up pitching against Jason Matthews at some stage during the season. He's pitched in 2 games so far, giving up 3 hits in 1.1 innings and striking out 1 hitter. So yet to give up a run yet. No news so far on Kyle Glogowski or Elliot Johnston yet, but we'll keep you posted on all those Kiwis playing in the States. And there's also a couple of college kids we need to keep an eye on as well, which we'll talk about in future weeks.
Cool. I've got a question for you, though, about baseball, because I saw something over the week and interested me, and I thought it might interest you as well, considering our discussions that we've had in the last little while. Clayton Kershaw had a perfect game through 7 innings, and Dodgers manager Dave Roberts pulled him with 80 pitches. Two batters later, Gary Sanchez singled, and there goes the game. There goes the perfect game. Pulling him in a perfect game after 7 innings. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's certainly polarized opinion amongst commentators, players, other coaches, other managers. There's only been, in the history of the game of baseball, there's only been 23 perfect games ever thrown.
Amazing. You've only got 2 innings to go, and you could be one of those people.
Yep. But the thing is, they had a reduced spring training. His arm's not ready to throw 100 pitches. What if he goes out there and in the in the 8th inning and throws 20 pitches?
Yeah.
He's already at 100 before the 9th inning. Even if he doesn't give up a hit, you just get a couple of long at bats where, guys foul off 4 or 5 pitches and it just goes on and on. But it's, as I say, in the history of the game and however many tens of thousands of games of Major League Baseball, perfect games only been thrown 23 times, Yeah, it's a tough call.
That's the thing, though. So will this mean that there will never be another perfect game?
Oh, there will be.
So someone will hang in there. Maybe they'll get it with it. They'll only throw 60 pitches through. If this
had happened in 3 months' time, he would have been allowed to carry on.
Okay. So you're just saying because it was at the beginning of the season and he hasn't got the pitches in his arm and he's coming off an injury and all that sort of stuff. If he was well warmed up halfway through the season, all that sort of stuff, he would have gone the full distance.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's explained a little bit for me. So thank you very much for that, because I had no idea. I looked at it and went, that's just crazy madness, But that makes a bit more sense. Thank you so much for educating me.
Yeah, so lots of managers have got their, especially their top pitchers are on pitch counts at the moment. So Garrett Cole for the Yankees, he was pulled after throwing just 84 pitches the other day. And in his first game, they only let him throw 60. So, that's the sort of thing that goes on. So not many starting pitchers here are picking up wins at the moment because you've got to throw 5 innings to start a game to pick up the win. So relief pitchers are picking up those wins at the moment.
Okay.
Sad news during the week. Rest in peace, Australian golfing great Jack Newton, the father of former NRL player Clint Newton. Jack was the 1979 Australian Open champion, and he died due to health complications, aged 72. Newton's Australian Open victory was one of 3 triumphs on the Australian Tour. He also won once on the PGA Tour and was a 3-time winner on the European Tour. His golfing career ended prematurely in July 1983 when, aged 33, he lost his right arm and eye after walking into a plane's spinning propeller.
Oh,
Yeah, very sad. My greatest memory of Newton was when he was visited by league legend and footy show funny guy Mario Fennick at his home in Newcastle.
yeah.
Fennick, being the good bloke he was, got Jack a cup of tea, handed it to him on a saucer. How does a one-armed person drink a cup of tea when you've got a saucer and cup in your hand?
Mario.
Absolute gold on the footy show from Mario Fennick.
Nothing if not class, old Mario the Falcon.
Yeah. So,
not the sharpest knife in the drawer, old Mario.
No, not the sharpest. Yes, quite right.
It's funny.
So, yes, rest in peace, Jack.
Absolutely. What else we got to do, mate? We got a best bet of the week. Should we go into that?
Yep.
We got anything else? Okay, so the best bet of the week. Let's just doff our cap to you, though, mate, because that was a great win a couple of weeks back when Leicester to draw at United. Although they could have got that goal in the last minute, it was ruled out by VAR. I'll take the draw. Thanks very much for coming. So well done. So I've got a best bet of the week. Looking for a little bit of value. We're not looking for easy bets here. We're looking for money where you can make some money. So Warriors to make the top 8. And if the Warriors finish 9th to 15th, you'll get a $50 back in bonus bets. Now, this is a deal that I saw at the TAB. I think this is a great deal. So if they make the top 8, you win your money. If they only make 9th to 15th, you'll make a $50 bonus bet. So you can't lose. You can head to tab.co.nz for more details on that one. Please gamble responsibly.
Quite right. Good week, bad week. Good week.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that to Leon McDonald, the Blues.
Fair enough.
Congratulations. I'm a big Crusaders fan, but I can take a loss on the chin. So well done to Leon McDonald.
See you in the grand final.
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? And bad week. Oh, poor old Lydia Coe's not had the greatest week. The Lottie Championship in Hawaii, after she tumbled down the leaderboard in the second round, the Kiwi golf star dropped 22 places to a share of 32nd after a bogey-laden 3-over par 76 on Friday, leaving her 10 shots off the pace at the halfway mark. So not a great week for Lydia Coe. Another who's had a good week, Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, yeah, in the Masters.
Last week at Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah, nearly led all the way.
Basically led from almost start to finish. Cam Smith, the mulleted Australian, he was right up in contention halfway.
He's a disgraceful-looking golfer, isn't he? He looks like he should be throwing darts at the alley pally. Honestly, he's an absolute shocker.
I bet he grew up in Blacktown in West Sydney.
He looks like it. Looks like he should be playing for the West Tigers or fullback for the Melbourne Storm.
But the round of the tournament has to go to Rory McIlroy. Stormed up the leaderboard to finish second. Did
you see the eagle on the 18th?
Yeah.
The one that he chipped out? And then his partner chipped out of the bunker as well. No, he did. That last round of his was amazing. But Scheffler just hanging on. And he just played great golf all week and definitely deserved the green jacket. I didn't actually know he was number one golfer. I mean, I don't follow golf that closely, but he was number one golfer. Tiger Woods was the big story all the way through the week, and he did really well to make it through the cut, didn't he? But he was never going to. I mean, he was never going to challenge. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's talk he's going to play in the British Open this year. So
I'd say he'll play all the majors. I mean, if he can walk around, why wouldn't you? But yeah, I'm not jumping aboard the Tiger hype train yet, mate.
No, I must say that walking off the 18th after the fourth round at the Masters, he looked more like a 76-year-old.
He does look old, eh?
Yeah, just that he's got that stagger, that the
hunched. He's lived
stagger, I call it.
He's lived a life, old Tiger, hasn't he, mate? I mean, he could just drive a little bit better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's the wrap of all
on that bombshell
over the last couple of weeks. We've covered off all the sport over Easter, and just finally, Greytown Football Club had a magnificent 5-0 victory yesterday over Upper Hutt United. At Maidstone Park. So well done to Greytown FC. Birkenhead will be playing this weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah, mate. They played Melville, and they lost to Melville 1-0. But it's a tough loss. Tough loss. They'll be back. They'll bounce back.
Yep.
They always do. Great club. Great club.
Quite right. So make sure you like, subscribe, check us out
comment.
on YouTube and Spotify, like our Facebook page. If you've got any questions you want asked,
We'd love to hear from you.
By the boys, put a question up on the Facebook page, the Hot Air Sports Podcast. And on that note, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him. We'll see you next time.